My wife after accidentally leaking her affair pic to our group chat. "It's a mistake. Don't leave me," I replied. Then I forwarded the pic and her tearful confession voicemails to her parents and my divorce lawyer. Her CEO father is now offering me millions to make this disappear. I, 35 male, am still trying to wrap my head around how quickly a life can implode. It's been a weird few days. A sort of numb clarity has set in. 3 nights ago, it was a normal Wednesday. I was winding down, scrolling through my phone. Our main group chat, mostly college friends, a few family members, suddenly blew up. It was a picture of Amanda, 33F, my wife of 8 years, with another man. Compromising, to put it mildly. The kind of picture you definitely don't send to a group chat that includes your husband and your cousin. My phone started ringing almost immediately. Amanda. I ignored it. Then came the texts, a flood of them. "OMG, Jason, I didn't mean to send that there. It's not what it looks like. Call me, please." I just stared at the picture. The shock was there, a cold pit in my stomach, but mostly, weirdly, I felt still. She'd clearly meant to send it to someone else, her affair partner, presumably. The sheer carelessness was almost as insulting as the betrayal itself. Her calls kept coming, then the voicemails started. Sobbing, incoherent apologies, claims it was a huge mistake, that she loved me, begging me not to leave her. The whole 9 yards. My reply to her barrage of texts was simple. That's it. That's it. Nothing else. Then I got methodical. Screenshot the group chat, the picture, her frantic texts. Downloaded all those tearful voicemails. She basically confessed to everything in her panic. Compiled it all neatly into an email. Sent one copy to her parents, George and Carol. Subject, "Thought you should see this." Sent another copy to Edward, a divorce lawyer my colleague had used and recommended highly. Subject, "Consultation needed ASAP, infidelity." I didn't reply to another message or answer a single call from her. She made her bed, now she gets to lie in it. With a spectator gallery. About an hour after I sent those emails, my phone rang. Unknown number. I had a feeling. "Jason? It's George." Amanda's father. His voice was tight. "We need to talk, in person, about Amanda. About this unfortunate situation. I'm prepared to be very generous to make this disappear. Think 7 figures. Make it disappear. Not help Amanda fix her life or apologize for my daughter's behavior. Just make the problem go away with money." The entitlement is honestly breathtaking. I just said, "Mr. George, I'll have my lawyer contact you," and hung up. The silence from my end seems to be louder than any screaming match could ever be. Waiting for Edward to call me back. This is just the beginning. It's been a wild week since the pic. Thanks for the comments and DMs on the original post. Good to know I'm not losing my mind. My lawyer, Edward, is a shark. In a good way. He got back to me the morning after I sent him everything. Said the evidence is overwhelming and Amanda's accidental leak and subsequent voicemails basically handed us the case on a platter. He also confirmed my instincts about George's offer. Classic bullying and an attempt to control the narrative. George didn't wait for Edward. He showed up at my office later that day. No appointment. Just breezed past reception like he owned the place. He probably owns the building, knowing him. My boss, thankfully, knows some of what's going on and ran interference, telling him I was in an unavoidable all-day meeting. George left a message with my boss. "Tell Jason the offer stands, but it has an expiration date. Don't be a fool." The arrogance is just wow. Amanda, meanwhile, has apparently been oscillating between hysterics and trying to rally support. Her best friend, Stephanie, called me, full of righteous fury. "Jason, how could you be so cruel?" she started, no preamble. "Cruel?" I asked, genuinely curious. "Enlighten me." "Sending that picture to her parents? And ghosting her? She's a wreck. She made a mistake, a terrible one, but she's destroyed. She accidentally shared evidence of her affair with our entire social circle, Stephanie, then left voicemails confirming it. I just forwarded the existing information to relevant parties. She needs compassion, not this cold-hearted revenge. Her father is trying to help, and you're being difficult." Ah, so Daddy relayed his version. "His help involves offering me money to silence me, Stephanie, not to address the actual betrayal. There's a difference." She sputtered something about me not understanding the pressure Amanda was under, how George just wants to protect his family. "Amanda still loves you, Jason. She wants to fix this." The time for fixing this was before she started an affair and got careless with her phone, Stephanie. All communication goes through my lawyer now. Click. For a fleeting second after hanging up, the sheer waste of 8 years hit me. The us that was before all this. But then the image of the pic and the memory of her father's blatant attempt to buy my silence solidified my resolve. No going back. The narrative they're spinning is that I'm the villain for not quietly accepting her mistake and for not taking the hush money. George apparently told Amanda he'd handle me. Edward sent a formal letter to George stating that all further communication regarding the divorce or any related matters must be directed to him, and that his client, me, considers George's unsolicited visit to my workplace and his financial offer as attempts to intimidate and unduly influence. He also formally rejected the offer. The best part? Carol, Amanda's mom, actually called me, crying, not for me, of course, for Amanda, for the family's reputation. Jason, dear, Amanda is beside herself. She knows she did a terrible thing, but airing this dirty laundry, her father is so upset. Can't you just forgive her for the sake of the family? Mrs. Carol, I said as gently as I could, Amanda destroyed our family. I'm just dealing with the fallout. She needs to talk to her lawyer, and you probably need to talk to your daughter about honesty and consequences. More tears, then. Her father will be very displeased if this gets messy. He can make things difficult. A threat wrapped in a velvet glove. Lovely. So now I'm the bad guy for wanting a clean break from a cheating wife and refusing to be bought off by her rich daddy. The entitlement is a family trait, it seems. Edward is already preparing for them to play dirty. This is far from over. Update 2, 3 weeks later. Things have escalated as expected. Amanda's family is not used to not getting their way. George, true to his veiled threat, decided to try and make things difficult. Dirty trick 1. I got a call from my company's HR department. An anonymous ethics complaint had been filed against me. Allegations of creating a hostile environment and erratic behavior due to personal stress. It was clearly timed and worded to sound just plausible enough to cause trouble. Thankfully, my boss is a good guy, knows my work ethic, and the complaint was so vague it reeked of malice. HR had a chat with me. I calmly explained I was going through a contentious divorce initiated by my wife's infidelity, and that her family was not pleased with my refusal to sweep it under the rug. They reviewed my recent performance, stellar, as usual, and dismissed it as likely baseless. Edward has noted this as attempted professional sabotage. Dirty trick 2. Amanda, likely coached by Daddy Dearest, George, filed an emergency motion for spousal support. And not just any support. She claimed she was destitute and emotionally crippled by the trauma of the situation, her words apparently. She requested an obscene amount, basically asking me to fund her current lifestyle, her therapy for the trauma she caused, and her legal fees. The entitlement is truly off the charts. She also requested exclusive use of our apartment, even though she's been staying with Stephanie or her parents since the pic. Edward was ready. We countered hard. We presented the infamous picture and the chat log showing she sent it. Her tearful voicemails, admitting everything, promising to make it up to me. Evidence of her employment. She has a well-paying marketing job her father George got her, hardly destitute. George's $1 million offer and his visit to my workplace as evidence of their family's approach to problem-solving. The timing of the anonymous HR complaint. The judge was not amused by their antics. He asked Amanda directly why, if she was so traumatized and wanted to reconcile, her first move after the accidental leak wasn't a direct, sincere apology, instead of a demand for cash and an attempt to oust me from my home. She mumbled something about being confused and scared. Confused about how she got caught? Maybe? Lol. The judge also raised an eyebrow at her income statement versus her claim of destitution. Result: her request for emergency support was massively slashed to a token amount, barely enough to cover her share of a coffee, let alone her legal fees or emotional damages. Exclusive use of the apartment was denied, especially since she'd already vacated. The judge basically told her that her current predicament was a direct result of her own actions. Amanda apparently had a meltdown outside the courtroom. Stephanie was there, glaring daggers at me. George, who was also present, hovering like a vulture, looked like he was about to explode. He actually tried to corner Edward in the hallway, blustering about ruining his daughter and not knowing who he was messing with. Edward coolly handed him his card and said, "All threats and attempts at intimidation are being duly noted, Mr. George. Have your lawyer call me." The latest is that Amanda, through her lawyer, is now trying to claim that the prenup we signed is invalid due to emotional distress at the time of signing, 8 years ago when she was ecstatic to be marrying me. It's a Hail Mary, and Edward says it's weak, but it shows they intend to drag this out and make it as painful and expensive as possible. They thought the money and intimidation would make me roll over. They underestimated how much I value my dignity and peace of mind over their tainted cash. Every dirty trick just strengthens my resolve. I'm not playing their game, I'm just calmly documenting their every move and letting the legal process do its thing. They want a war of attrition? Fine, I've got my armor on. Final update. It's been about 7 months since Amanda's accidental photo share blew up our lives. The divorce was finalized last week. Feels like a decade's worth of drama crammed into half a year. The last few months were exactly the slog Edward predicted. Amanda, egged on by George and her enabling friend Stephanie, fought every single point, no matter how ridiculous. Her attempt to invalidate the prenup went nowhere. As expected, the judge practically laughed it out of court after seeing the documentation and the original legal counsel she had when signing it. The revenge, so to speak, or the unraveling of Amanda's family, George's continued interference became his Achilles heel. He couldn't help himself. After the failed HR complaint, he tried to lean on some mutual business contacts to badmouth me professionally. What he didn't realize was that I'd already given my boss and a few key colleagues a very discreet, factual heads-up about the situation, including George's initial offer. When he started his smear campaign, it backfired. People saw him as a bully trying to cover up his daughter's mess and punish me for not playing along. Whispers started in their elite circles, not just about Amanda's affair, but about George's heavy-handed tactics and his attempt to buy my silence. That $1 million offer became a hot gossip topic. The pièce de résistance was when George, in a moment of sheer arrogance, tried to threaten Edward outside a pretrial hearing. He was loud, aggressive, and made some pretty specific threats about derailing Edward's career. What George didn't know was that Edward, anticipating such behavior, had a junior associate discreetly recording the entire exchange on his phone from a short distance away. When George's lawyer tried to paint Amanda as the victim of a vindictive husband during settlement talks, Edward calmly played back George's tirade. He then suggested that perhaps George's attempts to pervert the course of justice, starting with the bribe offer and escalating to threats against legal counsel, might be of interest to the Bar Association, or even law enforcement. The color drained from George's face. His lawyer looked like he wanted the ground to swallow him. Suddenly, they were very motivated to settle. The fallout: Amanda got exactly what the prenup stipulated. No spousal support beyond a very limited short-term rehabilitative sum that was part of the original agreement, contingent on her actively seeking to maintain her employment. She had to sell the designer handbags and jewelry, gifts from me and her father, to cover a chunk of her legal fees. Last I heard, she's still working at the job Daddy George got her, but the fun money days are over. Stephanie is still around, but rumor has it the friendship is strained because Amanda is, quote, a total downer now. George, his reputation took a significant hit. The story of the accidental photo, the affair, the attempted bribe, the threats, it all circulated. His power moves backfired spectacularly, making him look like a clown and a bully. He's still rich, but his social standing is tarnished. He had to issue a very quiet, very reluctant apology to Edward to avoid formal complaints. He also had to pay all of Amanda's substantial legal fees out of his own pocket, which I know infuriated him. Carol, still trying to play the victim by proxy, wailing about her poor Amanda to anyone who will listen. Most people just offer platitudes and then gossip about her behind her back. The affair partner. He vanished the moment the picture went public. Blocked Amanda on everything. No knight in shining armor there. Me? I'm good. Actually, better than good. The peace of walking away from that toxic dynamic is priceless. Kept kept my job, my dignity, and my assets as per the prenup. The whole ordeal was stressful and expensive, but it showed me I could handle a crisis with calm and strategy. There was no screaming, no public drama from my end. Just quiet, methodical, legal responses to their increasingly desperate and entitled actions. Amanda wanted to play games, and her father George thought his money could control everything. They both learned a hard lesson. She made her mistake, then her father compounded it by trying to bulldoze me. They got the cold financial reality and the social consequences they earned. That, my friends, is the most satisfying outcome I could have hoped for. Time to finally move on.